Kanab, Utah is easily one of the most underrated outdoor adventure destinations in the United States. And today I'm sharing 5 of the best things to do when visiting Kanab. And make sure to stay until the end because I'm also going to share a couple of bonus activities as well as my favorite place to stay in town. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love it if you could give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more outdoorsy content. Before I dive into the best things to do in Kanab, I want to note that I included a mix of destinations that are easily accessible and right next to the highway, as well as places that are a bit more off the beaten path and require a high clearance 4-wheel drive vehicle to access. There are a lot of sandy back roads around Kanab, and if you want to get out there and see everything I'm going to share today, then you need to have the right vehicle and driving experience to do it safely. If you don't have both of those things, then I highly recommend hiring a local guide to bring you out to these locations. Now, let's dive into the first thing to do in Kanab. Visit the Sand Cave. This is a very popular and very accessible activity. The Sand Caves are located right along Highway 89 just north of Kanab. You can even see them driving along the road. It's only a short hike up to the caves, which for the record, are man-made and were created to support sand mining in the area back in the day. But even though this hike is short, there is a little bit of very light scrambling involved to get up on the rock bench where the sand caves are located. There was a rope available to help people out when I visited at the end of last year, but you definitely want to wear shoes that have good traction, like a pair of hiking boots or trail runners. I'm wearing the Ultra Lone Peaks here, which are my personal favorite hiking shoes. I'll link a blog post with my complete review of them down below if you want to learn more. They're not for every foot, but I love them. Anyway, back to the sand caves. I think this is a really cool spot. My only complaint is that there is a ton of vandalism and graffiti carved into the rock walls. Now, again, the caves are man-made, so there's obviously already been a lot of impact to the natural environment, but it's still an eyesore and shows a lack of respect for the area, so please practice leave no traces if you visit. Your next stop is right down the road on Highway 89 to see Dinosaur tracks. Now, there are a couple of parking lots that you can hike from, but I recommend starting at the lot located right at the base of the track. From there, it's a short but fairly steep climb up to the top of a rocky bluff where you'll find well-preserved dinosaur tracks. There are a number of trail markers along the way to help with navigation, but the trail gets pretty rocky towards the top. Since the hike is less than a mile round trip, this is a fairly quick pit stop that would be great with kids. The next thing to do in Kanab is go hiking in Buckskin Gulch, aka the longest slot canyon in the world. Now, this requires a permit, but don't stress. All you have to do is go online to rec.gov and purchase one. There's no lottery or limit to the number of permits available, unlike other hikes in this area. Now, if you watched my last video, you'll know that I did not make it all the way out to the Slot Canyon section of Buckskin Gulch. We originally started the hike at the Buckskin Gulch trailhead, which has a much longer approach to the Slot Canyon portion of Buckskin Gulch. The Wire Pass route, on the other hand, is a shorter approach and takes you through a slot canyon that is photogenic in its own right, but there are some obstacles that dogs won't be able to navigate, and there might be standing water you have to hike through depending on the time of year. As with any slot canyon, you definitely want to check the forecast ahead of time and avoid entering a slot canyon if rain is in the forecast anywhere in the vicinity. For more slot canyon safety tips, check out a recent blog post I wrote that I will share below. Next up, we have another slot canyon adventure, Peekaboo Slot Canyon. There are 2 ways to access the Peekaboo Slot Canyon near Kanab. You can either drive down an extremely sandy and bumpy 4x4 road, or you can hike the road, which is roughly 8 miles out and back. The slot canyon itself is relatively short, especially compared to something like Buckskin Gulch, but the red sandstone walls are extremely photogenic and beautiful. The video that shares my honest thoughts about whether or not it's worth making the trip out, but it really boils down to your vehicle and how much time you have in Kanab. The last big thing to do in Kanab is going to take you to another cave, but this time you'll need a high clearance 4-wheel drive vehicle and some grit to get there. This is the Great Chamber, and while it's a trek to get out here, it's worth the trip if you enjoy unique desert destinations. From the parking lot, it's only a short and sandy hike up to the Great Chamber. The final push is steep, but once you step inside and look out, you'll understand the height. The Great Chamber was formed by wind lashing at the sandstone walls over time, and I could definitely feel the wind tunnel the area created when I visited. Prepare to be pelted with sand and make sure your camera gear is sealed. My husband and I did all 5 of those activities on our last trip to Kanab over the course of of 3 days, but I wanted to share a couple of bonus things to do that I only have limited vertically shot footage for. First up, watch the sunset at Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park. This is probably the best place to watch the sunset around Kanab. And if you want another quick roadside stop, check out the Belly of the Dragon. Like the Sand Cave, there's a lot of graffiti, and ultimately it's a viaduct under the highway, but it's an interesting spot. Now, my favorite place to stay when visiting Kanab is the Best Friends Roadhouse and Mercantile. This is owned by the Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, which is located in the area, and it's easily one of the most pet-friendly hotels probably in the world. Each room comes with a cat tower and trundle bed for your pet, and there's a huge off-leash area, including a separate space for little dogs. I hope this video got you inspired to plan a road trip to Kanab. If you want more recommendations for things to do across Southern Utah, check out my Southern Utah hiking guide and interactive map, which I will share below, and please like and subscribe for more. And please like and subscribe for more.